Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and in today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about the ROG Ally. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we get into any sort of actual gaming talk for the ROG Ally, I do want to show you, I have it docked right now. What you're seeing on screen minus my webcam is exactly what I'm seeing on my monitor right now. I wanted to show you this because it is very important, at least in my opinion, to hammer home the fact that this is a Windows PC. When you boot up your main PC at home or your laptop or whatever the hell you got, this is what you see. You see the Windows desktop. Now, obviously, there are some different elements to that, especially on the ROG Ally, where whenever you boot up the ROG Ally, instead of seeing this off the bat, you'll see this. And what's cool about that is I have it docked right now, so I'm using an Xbox controller, so I can control all of this stuff. I can pick which game I want to play, just select it, and it's good to go. It launches by itself. And also you can use it obviously with the controller on the actual ROG Ally itself. But the reason why I wanted to show that it is at its core a Windows PC is incredibly important. But the reason that I wanted to show that it is at its core a Windows PC is actually twofold. One, the whole setup process of a Windows PC. If you've ever set up a Windows PC, like again, whether it's a laptop, a desktop, or maybe you've got an ROG Ally yourself. If you've ever set up a Windows PC, you know it's not the quickest thing to do. It's not the quickest and easiest thing to do. I mean, it's not challenging really. It's just kind of a time-consuming thing, right? Now, when I set up my ROG Ally, I'd say it probably took me about 10 hours. And out of that 10 hours, probably an hour and a half of it was actually setting up Windows. Everything else was getting games downloaded because Steam, for whatever reason, was having this issue where my downloads would start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. So for whatever reason, that was going on. But like everything else besides Steam, like Xbox, the Xbox app, Epic Games, GOG, like all of that stuff was working great. For whatever reason, though, Steam was a little finicky, and it made the whole process of downloading my Steam games quite a bit longer than it otherwise should have been. And now we can kind of lead into the whole positive part of having Windows on a handheld device, is the fact that you go on over to these game platforms right here. Look at all these game platforms. You have Xbox Cloud Gaming, obviously, EA, Xbox, like your actual Game Pass app, and the games that you bought on Xbox that are cross-play between Xbox and PC. Stuff like Metaphor ReFantazio recently was cross-buy. You bought it on Xbox, you could play it on PC. I know Square Enix has been supporting it more as of late. Obviously, you have all your first-party stuff from Xbox. You buy it on Xbox, it will work on your PC as well. You got Battle.net, Ubisoft Connect, GOG Galaxy, Epic Games Launcher, and then of course you got Steam, right? You have all the big platforms that pretty much everybody is playing on PC. And I mean, we come back over here and take a look at my library, you can see Death Stranding Director's Cut. I mean, I've been playing that on Xbox as of late. I know recently they just showed the Death Stranding 2, a new trailer for Death Stranding 2, as well as the launch date for Death Stranding 2, June 26th of this year. I cannot wait to play that. So I've been playing Death Stranding on my Xbox, right? And when I'm done playing on my Xbox, I go to my bedroom and get ready for bed. I have my ROG Ally. I can pick up my save right where I left off on my Xbox on my ROG Ally. I have Call of Duty, which, I just boot it up, play a couple games. I got all of my stuff that I have on Xbox, as you can imagine. It works really, really well. There's also Forza Horizon 4. I play a ton of Horizon 4. It's my favorite Forza Horizon. Second favorite Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 3 is my first favorite. Ghostwire Tokyo. I have my save for my Xbox. I can pick it up whenever I want. Still Wakes the Deep, Hollow Knight, Balatro off of Game Pass. So you not only get all of the things that you get from like a Steam Deck, which is your Steam library. And let me show you this real quick. I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but let me show you this real quick. If you do just want to use your Steam library, you can go to Game Platforms, launch Steam. Here you are in your Steam library. And it's like no different than a Steam Deck at this point. You just launch into Steam Big Picture mode, you pick a game you want to play, and you can play it. And you can use this thing like it's a Steam Deck if that's what you want to do. Now, obviously, I would tell you that if you plan on doing that, I would probably suggest just get a Steam Deck at that point, given the fact that, you know, the Steam Deck generally is a less expensive option and it does Steam very well, as you can imagine. And there's a really good amount of games that are Steam Deck verified, Steam Deck playable. And I know even some of the unsupported games are on Steam Deck. I've tested myself personally. Ghost of Tsushima is one of them. It says it's unsupported on Steam Deck. It runs great on Steam Deck. You just can't play the multiplayer. And that is what is so great about this ROG Ally. That's what kind of sets it apart from the Steam Deck, in my opinion, is the fact that it is a Windows PC. The fact that there are no limitations. I showed you this game platforms list right here. I mean, you know, Steam, Battle.net, Ubisoft, GOG, Xbox, EA, all that stuff, Epic, like, it has all that stuff. But if you know of a launcher that isn't on this list right here, all you got to do is go to Microsoft Edge or whatever internet browser that you use and just download the launcher. It's not a big deal. You're not limited to what is only on here. You can add or subtract or do whatever you need to do to make it the best place for you to play games. All right, so everything I'm saying is all well and good, but can this thing actually game? Is it a viable option for gaming? After all, it is marketed as a gaming handheld. Running Windows and all that stuff, you can use it like a PC, but the way it's marketed is towards gamers for gaming. And I'll be showing a whole bunch of different games running on the ROG Ally, kind of a montage of what I've been playing this past week on the ROG Ally. And keep an eye out for that top right hand corner, specifically where it says APU watt, because the ROG Ally features a bunch of different power profiles out of the box. It features a 10 watt mode, 15 watt mode, 25 watt mode, all handheld. And if you're plugged into a wall or docked, you can go up to a 30 watt mode, which does offer a little bit more performance over the 25 watt mode. On the screen, you'll see that APU wattage will read higher than 15 watts. Sometimes it'll read 20 watts. Sometimes it'll read 10 watts, 30, whatever the case may be. But I would definitely urge you, depending on what you play, to kind of tinker around with the settings, make your own power profiles and tweak things how you think they should be tweaked, or maybe even just watch some guides on YouTube or go to a Reddit and, you know, ask people their opinions on what you think would work for what game you want to play, because this thing really can play a very big variety of games. You've just got to be willing to tinker a little bit to make sure things line up with how you want them. I think the most important thing to ask yourself if you're someone who's interested in the ROG Ally, or not even just the ROG Ally, really any of these gaming handhelds, is you got to ask yourself, are you willing to make compromises on things? Because it's not a device that's going to enable you to, you know, boot up Cyberpunk and play it maxed out at 60 FPS at 1080p. It's just not possible. Like, none of the handhelds really can do that right now at the moment. And it doesn't even look like the next generation of handhelds are going to be able to do that. They will definitely be a little bit of an improvement over this current generation, but it doesn't seem like they're really close to hitting that level yet. So you got to kind of be coming into it with your expectations being kind of realistic and what you want to achieve and what you want to do with it. If you're somebody who, like, you know, you want to boot up CSGO and play some CSGO, this will run CSGO just fine. Like, if you're somebody who's like, I want to play Left 4 Dead with my buddies, this will run it just fine. If you want to play Destiny 2, this will run it just fine. Something like Halo Infinite, you want to play some Halo with your buddies, that'll run just fine. Call of Duty, I played probably my most played game on the ROG Ally right now, and the week that I've had it is probably Call of Duty. I played a surprising amount of Call of Duty on this thing because I never really would have thought I'd want to play Call of Duty on a handheld, just because I just kind of assumed I would suck and it wouldn't be fun. But God, it runs really well, and it is really fun. I really, really enjoy it. So like it all depends on what you're playing, kind of what your goals are for the ROG Ally. But I would say for a lot of people, this can play the games that you want it to play. It's just a matter of, are you willing to compromise in areas that you need to compromise in? Are you willing to lower the resolution to 720p? Are you willing to play, the big new AAA game at 30 FPS instead of 60? Those are things you have to ask yourself, because that's the kind of compromises you will be making on any handheld, not just the ROG Ally. And one thing I'll add on the gaming front, let me turn this light on because it is starting to get dark outside. Oh my God, that is bright. One thing I will add on the gaming front for the ROG Ally is, because it is a Windows machine, you do have some pretty cool options available to you. One of the things that I would recommend is this little thing called lossless scaling. It's on Steam. You can buy it for like $6. It really is a game changer. Once you've got things set up, you can essentially add frame generation to any game that doesn't support frame generation. Now, if the game supports frame generation, I guess you can still technically use it, but I would recommend just using the frame gen in the game. But like for older games that don't support frame generation, but you wanna boost your frame rate, there are options out there like lossless scaling that you can absolutely use, and it works really, really well. And I would love to show it off to you guys, but my only problem with it is that it doesn't work, for me at least, whenever I'm docked. I don't know. I have to look into it. I have to figure out a way around that. But when I'm playing handheld, lossless scaling works great. I remember playing like Witcher 3, and I went from like 50 FPS to like 110 FPS with lossless scaling. Absolutely game-changing stuff. And then finally, because it is a Windows PC, there's also not, limitations on what you can play. Like with Steam OS and Linux and everything, you're kind of relying on Proton and everything to make things compatible. And it's gotten a lot better, especially since the introduction of the Steam Deck to the market a couple years ago. Proton's gotten really, really good with game compatibility, but it's still not at the level that Windows is at. Like I mentioned Destiny earlier. If you want to play Destiny, it's kind of impossible to play it on a Steam Deck or a Linux desktop because of the anti-cheat. And there's a lot of games with some sort of anti-cheat that just kind of refuse to run properly, if at all, on a Steam Deck. So you won't be having that issue with the ROG Ally because it is a Windows-based system. So that is definitely something to keep in mind if you are somebody who wants to play Destiny. I know GTA 5 or GTA Online, like the big thing in the past couple of months is that they switched something with their anti-cheat, and now it's not playable on Steam Deck. So stuff like that, I would say if you're somebody who plays, a lot of multiplayer games, I would say probably keep that in mind. You might want to lean towards something more like an ROG Ally, even a Lenovo Legion Go, something that just runs Windows, but definitely keep that in mind based on the games that you want to play. Now, I do want to give one thing that I don't like about the ROG Ally, because I don't want you to feel like all of this is perfect and amazing and there's no drawbacks whatsoever, because just like with anything, there is a drawback. And the biggest drawback for me with the ROG Ally is definitely, without question, the battery. Now, if you're somebody like me who plays a lot in bed, it's not that big of a deal because I know I have an outlet right next to my bed. I just plug it in and I play it while it's plugged in. It's not a big deal. But if you are somebody who actually plans on using this thing handheld on the go, like on a regular basis, I would highly recommend investing in a battery pack, because you will need it. Because even at 15 watts, which is like half the power of the ROG Ally, depending on what you're playing, you might be lucky to get a little bit over an hour of actual game time out of it. let alone if you bump it up to the 25 watt mode unplugged, you're going to burn through that battery quick. You might get 40 minutes if you're lucky. So the battery does go quick, and that is definitely a drawback for the ROG Ally. But if you are somebody who really, really does need the most battery possible and you want the ROG Ally, I would certainly look into the ROG Ally X. It is more expensive, starts at $700, goes to $800, but it does feature double the battery. And on top of that, it does feature, I think the original ROG Ally has 16 gigabytes, the ROG Ally X has 24 gigabytes of RAM. So it features an extra 8 gigabytes of RAM on the ROG Ally X, which, you know, in a lot of cases won't matter, but there are some cases where games really do need a lot of RAM where that will make a difference. So if you are somebody, you know, who wants double the battery life and you wouldn't mind having that extra RAM, the ROG Ally X is certainly out there for you to check out. I will say I was tempted to get that, but at the end of the day, dude, $700 versus me getting this ROG Ally for $450 from Best Buy, I mean, it wasn't really a choice at that point. It wasn't really a question. I was going to get this one. But overall, the ROG Ally is a really, really awesome machine. It does have its limitations, and as long as you go into owning an ROG Ally, knowing those limitations, I think you will be very, very, very pleased with the product that you get. I know for me personally, it runs all the games I need it to run, and what's nice is as someone who does content creation, it can double up as a desktop if I need to get something done productivity wise, if I need to edit photos or just web browsing in general or edit a video or something like that in a pinch, and all I have is my ROG Ally, I would feel pretty confident using that to do all of those things. But guys, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the ROG Ally. Do you have one? Are you planning on getting one? Or are you waiting for the next generation APU ROG Allies later this year? Leave that all in the comments below. And if this video was of any help to you at all in deciding on getting or not getting an ROG Ally, leave that in the comments as well. Leave a like if you like the video. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is consider subscribing, considering that notification bell, because it helps you stay up to date with everything that happens over here on the channel and helps promote me, and the algorithm helps push the videos out to way more people. And I always, always, always appreciate that. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.